The next thing I'm going to add to the sinusoidal functions is the vertical shift, shifting the entire graph up and down, which essentially changes your midline. So once again, I'm going to start with our parent function, y equals sine x. So far, based on that, we know that one cycle is in 2 pi, half of that's pi, pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, max is 1, minimum is -1, and then the sine function starts on the midline. So right here is our parent function. From that, we've added a few things. We have added y equals the plus or minus. That tells us if it's a flip or the standard graph. Then it's our amplitude. Amplitude is our distance from our midline. Then it is either sine or a cosine graph. Our frequency comes next. And then our x, or a Greek letter. And then plus or minus, this is the new part, our midline is on the end. Now you notice the parent function, the plus or minus isn't there, so it's understood to be 0, hence the x-axis. So I'm going to take our parent function, and I am going to add 2 to the parent function. So the only thing that's changing is my midline. So my amplitude is 1, my frequency is 1, my period is 2 pi, and now my midline is 2, and there is no flip. All right. Graph starts and stops in 2 pi, one cycle in 2 pi. So that's not changing. Now the midline is 2. So that means I need to drop a horizontal line at +2. The graph is not shifting left or right at all. Just the midline is shifting up 2. So from the midline, my amplitude is 1. That means I'm going 1 unit above it and 1 unit below it. Now the standard sine function, the parent function, starts at the midline. So that has not changed. Start at the midline, max, midline, minimum, midline. Draw it in. So if you notice, the only things that's changed between these two functions is the midline. The entire graph has shifted up. Now I'm going to do another example with everything included. So let's do this. Y equals 2 cosine 1/2 x plus 3. So based on our general form, our amplitude in this problem is 2. Our frequency is 1/2, which would mean our period, remember you take 2 pi and divide it by 1/2, which means you're going to multiply it by 2/1. My period then is 4 pi, and my midline is now +3. I went up 3, and there's no flip. All right, so we are going to sketch. My period is 4. That means from beginning to end of one cycle, it's 4 pi units. We can't, or cut everything in half. So I have done my period. That's part of the frequency. Now I'm going to put my midline at +3. That includes a dashed line. My amplitude is +2, or 2. It's never a positive or a negative. The negative tells if it's a flip or not. So that means I need to go 2 units above the midline and 2 units below the midline. So my max is going to be 5 and my minimum is going to be -1. Cosine functions start high or low. Because it's a standard cosine function, I'm going to start at the max, midline, minimum, midline, and max. All right, there you go. Have a great day.